Let's talk about the Phillies.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Phillies House Videocast, and today we're going to be talking about the 2020 Phillies. As I talked about the other day, we're going to be talking about our chances to re-sign JT Ruto. We're going to be talking a little bit about Bryce Harper, development of Bellum, the front office, the bullpen, and other things. As today, I'm introducing Gianni as he makes his Phillies House Videocast guest debut. So, Gianni, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now today, if you have watched the show before, this jersey may not look too familiar to you because it is a new jersey. I just got it the other day. This is the first time I'm going to be wearing it. I love it. This is actually the jersey that we wore in the 80s and 90s home games. I love this jersey. It's super underrated. I never hear anybody talk about it. My first Nike jersey, because all my jerseys are majestic. I got this at a pretty good price, too. It was a special on LV.com shop. This is the Mike Smith jersey as well, so I'm super stoked to have this jersey. Now, guys, before we get into this video, please subscribe if you have not yet. Please turn the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and let's get into this. Now, the first topic of discussion I want to talk about is JT Ruto, the best catcher in baseball, and he's on our team, but he may not be on our team much longer. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. Now the season's done. If we just witnessed JT Ruto's last game in the Phillies uniform, I would not be too surprised. I'm pretty concerned about him leaving us. I have discussed that a little bit, of course. So the first question I'm going to ask you, G, do you think that JT? What do you think about the Phillies' chances? Let me just say that. What do you think about the Phillies' chances to re-sign JT Ruto?
Well, I think it's very slim if Clint Tack is our GM. He concerns me with a lot of things, but right now he's concerning me a lot. In my opinion, I think he should be fired. I know that's going all around the organization. You know, will he be fired? So yeah. I guess we're gonna find out, but I'm not too sure. So
yeah, I mean, they did come out with an article that said that there's been a lot of off and on. First of all, the day I uploaded the video 2 days ago, there was a source that said they don't think he's going to be fired, and then someone said yesterday it's bound to happen, and then we just saw Jim Salisbury put something out like an hour ago saying he's going to be fired. So, you know, we don't really know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, it should. And now, let me just ask you this. I mean, I think that JT Ruto is going to I think he's going to go out and sign with the New York Mets this offseason. The Mets need a catcher behind plate. Wilson Ramos is going to leave them, and I think, honestly, they don't want him back. He's just old. And I think the Mets, this makes so much sense for the Mets. I think they're just one key piece away from being a contender, and this would make them dangerous. And I do think this would put them over the top, and that's why I'm concerned that the Mets are going to get him, especially with the new owner, Steve Cohen, coming in. He's going to want to make a big splash. He's the first year. He's going to go out and sign somebody. Why not sign the BCIB, JT Ruto? So if JT Ruto does leave us, which I'm not too confident that he will stay here, what do you think? What team do you think has the best chance of landing him?
Well, I agree with you. I think the New York Mets, like you said, they're one big piece, one key player away from being a World Series team, and it makes sense for JT to sign with them, and I know they want JT, so they need a catcher, and that makes the most sense. So yes, I say New York Mets.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think the Nats are in there too. I mean, they're going to be losing Kurt Suzuki, and I know they got Gianni there too, but the Nats make a lot of sense. I think the Braves, possibly the Braves. I heard the Cubs are in on them. The Dodgers maybe might speak in there a little bit too. But who knows, man? It's going to be interesting to see. But there are going to, and especially the Yankees. Gary Sanchez not having a good season. Are the Yankees going to trade Gary Sanchez? Are they going to go out and sign JT Ruto? A lot of teams with money are going to be in on JT Ruto, so that's what concerns me now. We talked a little bit about the general manager, Matt Klentak, still as of now the Phillies GM, but it doesn't look like he will be the Phillies GM much longer. It looks like his job is in jeopardy. What do you think about Matt Klentak? Do you think he's going to be fired, or do you think that the Phillies are going to keep him?
I do. I do think he should be fired. He's a GM. He did lots of good for the Philadelphia, but he signed Bryce. He traded for JT, but the bullpen's been a problem for a while, and that's the thing that's holding us back from a playoff spot, from a playoff run. The bullpen's very important, especially, it's very, very important, and he hasn't addressed it, He's done good things, but with the bad things, he's really been, keeping us back from a playoff spot. So I do think he'll be fired. I think it's just a matter of time.
I agree. I mean, they just came out with a report like 2 days ago, and I made that other video talking about our 2020 season, saying that they don't think he's going to be fired. The source said he's not going to be fired. And then they said yesterday that it's bound to happen. And then they just say today, Jim Salisbury just put something out like an hour ago saying that he's going to be fired. So it seems to be kind of 50-50. I do think that they will pull the trigger on him. I remember this last year with the drama with Gabe Kapler, that they said that, well, we don't know if he's going to be fired or not, and he ended up being fired. So I do think that Matt Klentak will be fired, and I agree with you. I think that for him to go into this year saying that we're going to be a winning team with the bullpen that we had, I think it's just a disgrace. And especially, I mean, he tried a little bit, before the deadline. He went out and traded for Brandon Workman, Heath Embry, and after the deadline, he traded for David Phillips. And he also went out before then acquired David Hale from the New York Yankees. But I feel like he tried, and they were not having bad seasons with the team they were on. But it just seems like none of the moves he made worked out at all. I mean, would you agree?
I agree 100%, yes. He definitely did try to make moves at the deadline, but, and they were, like you said, they were having good seasons. They come over to Philly, and they're struggling, They're giving up home runs, and, they're blowing games. And that's another big thing. We would have had so many more wins if this bullpen was good. It's a shame because the bullpen, it really just hurts us. We lost 5 runs, and we blow it, and the bullpen blows it. It's a shame.
It is, yeah. I mean, we really should be in first place, at the end of this year. It's ridiculous how bad we were in late in games. It's just amazing how bad our bullpen is. And the fact that, as we're talking about, how these guys that we acquired were good on the teams they were on before, and then they came here and just were terrible. That tells me that it may have been a coaching issue at some point, some sort. Don't you agree?
I agree. I know a lot of people will blame this on Joe Girardi. I would not blame this on Joe Girardi at all.
I agree.
I think he's one of the best managers in the MLB, and how can you blame it on him? This is the pitching staff. The pitching staff needs to get their act together. The players need to get their act together. This is not Joe Girardi's fault. The offense was on fire this year. It's a shame because the offense really did. They did great. It was just the pitching that held us back.
I agree. Even if Gabe Kapler, I didn't like Gabe Kapler, I probably wouldn't even blame him for this. I think Gabe Kapler, went out and made horrible decisions for this team. He went out and just put the wrong pitchers in at the wrong time, and he took guys out too early. I feel like he mismanaged his team. You can't believe. I didn't agree with anything that Gabe Kapler did, but I wouldn't blame him for this. I just don't think that Girardi's at fault here. He's not the one. He's not the general manager. He's not the one making trades. Klentak puts the team together, and that's what it is. Joe Girardi has to work with what he's got, and for anybody to blame Joe Girardi, every manager makes a mistake, but to blame Joe Girardi for this whole mess, I just think is ridiculous.
I do too.
Your fault. Don't you agree? I know you agree because you just said it, but it's really just absurd for anybody to say that. So the next topic of discussion is Bryce Harper, second year in the Phillies uniform, 268, 13 home runs. He led the major leagues in walks this year, which is unbelievable. Had the lowest strikeout rate in his career. What did you think of Bryce Harper's second year in a Phillies uniform?
I love Bryce. I actually love him. I think he had a very good season. A lot of people blame him again with not doing his part. I think he did his part. He made some fantastic defensive plays. He made some clutch hits. He's a great overall player. I can't stand people saying he's not whatever. We overpaid. I can't stand that. He's the best player on the team. He's clutch. He's a great overall player.
I 100% agree. And as you said, anybody that blames him is part of the problem, because how in the world is this guy the problem? And his WAR was down a little bit this year. If you go look at his WAR, it was below his career average, which isn't the end of the world. And he still had such a good year. Really, he hit around 270, hit 268. And it wasn't like he hit 240. And you saw him dipping there at the kind of middle of the season. He entered that horrible slump. But a lot of that was due to his back soreness that he was battling 4 to 5 weeks for 4 to 5 weeks of the season, towards the tail end.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so
he was really carrying this team.
Yeah, he did. I mean, Bryce Harper's a guy that can carry your team, and I can't wait to see him next. Hopefully, that back source will be behind him, but it was really, really frustrating when he was battling that. But hopefully, it just goes to show you how tough the guy is. So he could fight through that. I mean, he's amazing. He is really amazing. So I'm really impressed with what we saw at Bryce this year. I would like to see him hit like around 280, 290, but again, he's hit 268 with a sore back. I mean, so it's not the end of the world. He hit around 270. So I'm content with that. I'm happy to say I'm content with that. Now, the second question I want to ask you is Zach Wheeler, first year in a Phillies uniform. I know he wasn't great his last two starts the season, and they weren't even bad starts. It just goes to show what kind of pitcher he is. And he's a great pitcher. Those were not bad starts at all, but for him, maybe a little bit below average for him. What did you think of Zach Wheeler's first year in a Phillies uniform? I thought it went great. I want to hear your take on that.
I think it went great too. I remember when they signed him, I was going crazy. I knew he's a special player. I knew he was. I still think he's an underrated pitcher. Like you said, he had two rough starts, and that was end of the season. But they weren't even bad starts. They were just rough starts for him, and he had a great season, and he just added Nola and Wheeler, 1-2 punch, and I think that's great. So I think he played fantastic.
I agree 100%. Yeah, and when we first signed Zach Wheeler, I was kind of on the fence about it because I kind of felt like, wow, we definitely overpaid for this guy. Like, I just don't really think he's worth his money. Had time with John Terzi. He's been hurt a little bit over his career. His numbers are not fantastic. But, like, at the end of the season now, like, wow, what a steal, man. That was awesome, especially since he got higher offers. I believe, I don't know if it was the White Sox or the Twins that offered him more money than we did, and he came here at a discount. I think his wife had something to do with that, but, like, wow, I mean, what a steal for the Phillies, honestly, because Zach Wheeler, what a year he had. He arguably had a better year than Aaron Nola. I mean, what a year this guy had, and I cannot wait to see what he does for us next year. As we look down the rotation, we see Zach Eflin. In my opinion, I think he's proved to be he has proved that he could be a number 3, number 4 in this rotation. He has had a decent season. I know he's been a little bit inconsistent. This year he was pretty consistent. Had a few bad starts at the beginning, but man, he really finished out the year strong, really, really strong. And I just can't wait to see what Zach Eflin does for us next year. As I said, he could be a number 3, number 4. And this goes to show you that the starting rotation isn't really the problem. What did you think, Zach Eflin, 2022?
I think it was great. He, I really like him. He really picked it up at the end of the season. He really did. He really picked it up, and I love him. He's definitely a 3 or 4 guy in the rotation. So he really picked up. Really ended the year strong. So yeah, he's not the problem. I mean, he's definitely a solid pitcher.
Yeah, especially you need the guys to pick him up, especially when guys like Aaron Nola, who are usually dominant, are struggling at the end of the season like he does every year. So
yeah, right.
Nola just seems to collapse at the end of every season. Now, hopefully that will change. I thought it would change. I kept saying at the end of last year, I said I want Aaron Nola's September collapses to be over now that we just went out. If we go out and sign like a Zach Wheeler, which we did do, and then even in a shortened season, he still had a collapse at the end. So I really hope that that's just a fluke or something. Maybe just because everyone goes through slumps. Could have just been that he entered into a slump at the end of the season. That's the way I'm going to look at it. Hopefully that's what it was, but pretty disappointing ending for Aaron Nola. As we now move over to the bullpen, the dreaded bullpen, the third worst bullpen in the game's history. I'm going to ask you this. I'm sure I know what the answer is going to be. What did you think of this horrendous bullpen this year? We talked about it, I think, at the beginning, but just to touch on it more here, how many games they blew, this was pathetic. What did you think of this horrendous bullpen this season?
Well, it was horrendous. That's what the definition was. It was horrendous. It absolutely sucked. We blew many games. They never did really any good. It was really, I mean, we saw a few saves, but that was very rare occasions. I remember, about 5 runs, we were like, all right, got a lead. Next thing I know, we're losing by a run. I mean, it's a huge problem. We can't, clearly we never made the playoffs because of the bullpen. And this all season, that would be our number 1 priority. And, whoever the GM is, and if, Clentac or whoever it is, that needs to be the number 1 priority. And, honestly, the bullpen, like, you gotta go into the offseason saying, okay, we need bullpen help. And that's the other thing. So we'll see. But yeah, I hated it. It's horrible.
I agree, and especially when, the thing that really, really bothers me about it is the fact that when other guys on the market last free agency, like Dylan Patanzas was available, and yet I know he didn't have a great year at the New York Mets. I understand that. But, the Mets were out on him, and we were, the only team in on him. We couldn't even get him. And he didn't even sign that expensive a deal with the Mets, and we couldn't even give him that? I mean, how in the world, how in the world does Clinton whip on people like that? That's the thing that bothers me. It seems like the main focuses are not on the right things. You know what I'm saying? His
I agree.
are not on the right things. Why in the world would we not get Dylan Patanzas? Again, I know he didn't have a good season this year, but why in the world? At least we didn't even make him a huge offer. I didn't hear anything. The Mets were out on him, and then we were like, oh, the Phillies are the only team in, and then the Mets swooped back in and got him. It's a joke.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I
was never a big fan of Clinton, so he needs to. In my opinion, he needs to get fired. But if he doesn't get fired, I'll kind of be disappointed, to be honest. I feel bad, but he's got to. We need someone else to take over this team, and the top thing this offseason, for me at least, is the bullpen, and obviously JT. But we touched on that already. But
yeah, and I'd love to see re-signing of Didi Gregorius as well.
Oh my God. Same. Oh my God, I love Didi. That was honestly 1 year deal. He proved himself. So yeah,
exactly.
I don't know how they don't sign him.
Yeah, I just thought this. The two major acquisitions of last offseason, Zach Wheeler and Didi Gregorius, both outperformed the expectations this year. They were. I
agree, 100%.
Yeah, they were just great. And getting back to Clinton, there's nothing about him personally I don't like. I've met him a few times before, as I said. He's a nice person, a good guy, and there's nothing personal. I don't dislike him. I just don't think he's a very good GM. But again, there's nothing about him as a person I dislike. I think he's a good person. I just don't really think he's that great of a GM. But so, G,
I agree.
For coming on. Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. If you have any final thoughts, you can give them right here. But we pretty much talked about everything. JT, the bullpen, Bryce, the starting rotation, just everything about this team, good and bad.
I do want to say one thing that was very positive this season. There's one thing that was very positive that shocks me that I want to touch on, because I was one of the very few fans, at least that this year said he could be a star, and he was. Alec Bellum. I absolutely love this kid. I know everyone wanted to sign a third baseman, and there was a trade for a third baseman. No, we got our franchise third baseman. He's blown up, and he's a stud. He's absolutely a stud. I think he'll win Rookie of the Year.
Oh man, that guy is just a beast. And I've heard before, he's the next Anthony Rendon. It's just so.
Oh, I agree.
He's a hit machine. Gets the job done. I love him. And I'm so glad you brought him up, because I think that's a great point. He is the future cornerstone guy at third base for this organization. I truly believe that, and he has pretty much proved that. And if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, it's a disgrace to the sport.
Yeah.
So, G, thank you so much for calling on, man. I'd love to have you on again soon, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun.
Of course, yeah. So guys, please subscribe to that, Matt. Yeah, please turn the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Check out the social media link in the description section at Phillies Positive Instagram, at Harper Instagram. Call or text 267-225-3392. Email me, philliespositive@gmail.com. Guys, today I was joined by Gianni, and he made his Phillies Positive videocast debut. And this jersey made its Phillies Positive videocast debut, so 2 big debuts today. I'll talk to y'all later. I was joined by Gianni, and we will see you guys later. Bye.